Hey everyone, welcome to another YouTube painting process video. If you're watching, feel free to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate any help you have for the channel and my work in general. It's been a while since I made one of these normal YouTube series videos, but I figured you might have enjoyed some of my Twitch and Discord streams that you can check out down in the description below. There's a lot of information going around while I am painting live, so feel free to check them out. But there are some topics where I really do want to create one of these videos where I can talk about some concepts which can really help people, but it's also not something that might be brought out during a stream. So this is a video on my list of the top 5 misconceptions in art. Now, I want to avoid making any of these points about money, so it'll be most likely just the art side of things. So hopefully you enjoy this video here. Number 1, being good at drawing makes you good at painting. Now, preferably you are good at drawing and painting, but a lot of times when you're starting out, especially when I was in art school, one of the misconceptions now that I know retroactively is that if you're good at drawing, it means you are automatically just amazing at painting. But as I got older, I realized that drawing and painting, while there are a lot of overlaps, will have separate skill sets required. Obviously, stuff like the drawing fundamentals and that sort of thing, they obviously overlap with one another. But there are a lot of other concepts, such as brush usage and that sort of thing, that are going to be exclusive with one or the other. You will have to train yourself to be good at both, and a lot of times, even separately. If I have any advice for people who are just learning the craft, I would recommend making sure you are leveling both up at the same time. Drawing will affect your painting, painting will affect your drawing. But what I found is a lot of times some people will start out being really good at drawing and some people will be starting out really good at painting, but very rarely they're good at both. So do not be discouraged if you are great at one thing but not good at the other. That is completely natural. And a lot of times I see people who just quit one of them because they realize they might not be good at it. But ultimately, your goal as an artist is going to mean that you're good at both. But my point is just simply make sure that you are aware that you will have to practice both separately at times and together at other times. Number 2, cartooning is easy. Now, without a doubt, if you look at my work, it doesn't seem like I am a cartoonist, but in actuality, I did come from an animation school. And I can tell you straight up that I would say cartooning is harder than whatever I am doing right now with my own work. There's something about cartooning where when people look at professional cartoonists, they think that it's very easy to replicate. I'm sure if you've ever watched Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z, that sort of thing, as a kid, you might be very inspired to draw that because it looks very simple. As opposed to if you saw a brilliant fine arts piece, you're probably not going to look at it and say, well, that's it, I'm very inspired to paint that and I'm capable of doing it. A lot of times, people who look at cartoons think that they can easily replicate it and draw it out for themselves. But cartooning is very, very difficult, and the reason being, it might have a very low level skill floor where people can enter and just create their own cartoons, but it is extremely hard to master the concepts of cartooning to make very appealing proportions, appealing movement, that sort of thing. That's not to say cartooning is easier or harder than other styles, but in general, cartooning can be a little disrespected because it looks simpler, but in actuality, the artists are simplifying a lot. And what I've said many times in other videos, when you are simplifying, it implies that you know the rules before you break them. So if you are looking to be an aspiring cartoonist or trying to incorporate cartoons into your work, you really want to sit down and be objective with learning it and treat it with a lot of respect. Number 3, brushes matter. This one is more towards the digital painting side, and it's something that I've talked about in the past as well. As well as my streams, if you check out my description down below. I think a lot of people really overrate the importance of brushes in digital paint. The way I see brushes in art is the same I see like a basketball in the hands of an NBA player and someone who is just an amateur in the schoolyard. We could have the same basketball, but obviously someone like LeBron James would most likely destroy anybody in the amateur world. So in the same vein, having the secret brushes from a certain artist is not going to make you a god at art. You're going to find out very quickly that brushes are basically customized for the artists themselves. It might be very good to learn what they use, but ultimately you will find your own style, your own way of doing things, and you will create your own set of brushes which are the most comfortable for you. When people ask me what brushes I use, I sometimes just roll my eyes even though I understand where they're coming from. And a lot of times, the question to ask an artist is not about what brushes they use, unless there's actually a real reason for it. Notably, like, if there's a very special texture, or if, like, let's say it's creating a certain effect on the canvas, which is more towards the traditional side. Other than those really big exceptions, a lot of times you could get away with a career just using a normal round brush. You can demonstrate and execute any type of art with the very simple digital round brush. Similar to just having a basketball in the hands of a professional versus an amateur. So it is a very overrated part of art that sometimes irks me because of how common it is, but I get where people are coming from. I've done it when I was younger as well, just asking professionals for their brushes, but ultimately, again, it really doesn't matter. And I'm saying this as somebody who is in the professional world now. Number 4. Abstract art is all bad. This misconception comes from the idea of art to the average person out there. A lot of times you might watch TV and you'll get a news article where they talk about an art piece, like a banana taped on the wall that sold for like millions of dollars. And they look at that and be like, well, this looks bad or that sort of thing. Which is true, there are a lot of really questionable art, so to speak, in the fine arts world. But I feel like abstract art tends to get a bad rap because of it. The best abstractionist artists will have the art fundamentals demonstrated in their work. As with my other point, you have to learn the rules before you break them, because if you don't learn the rules, your work, no matter what style you're going for, is going to show a lot of mistakes. In terms of abstract art, the best abstract artists will have the art fundamentals learned. So when they are creating their works with like squares and circles, geometric shapes, they might seem like they're just putting random colors down, but their work is actually really hiding a lot of great things like good use of color, good use of composition, that sort of thing. Now, of course, I'm not saying every abstract piece is good. A lot of artists look at abstract art and say they can just randomly put stuff on the canvas, don't need to learn anything about art and that sort of thing. There are a lot of bad abstract art out there, similar to how there's a lot of bad cartoons. A lot of people get baited into thinking it's easy to execute, but in actuality, you still have to learn the rules. So be very wary about what you look at, especially with abstract art, because there's definitely a lot of great pieces from abstract art. There's a lot of bad ones too, but you could say that for every single style. So really just look and study into the top percentage of any type of style you're looking at. Number 5, talent creates artists. This one is something that I'm sure everybody has faced before. And it really comes from just, again, how normal people see art. A lot of times when you look at an artist from TV or somebody really popular, the artists are acting very eccentric, they're just weird, and that creates a false impression that the average person cannot be an artist because these artists are so different. How can I be an artist, right? They're just born different. But in actuality, art is a learned craft, a learned skill, just like anything else in this world. That's not to say that everybody learning the same stuff will be equally as strong as an artist. There's always going to be variables in terms of creativity and that sort of thing, but doesn't mean the technical skill set cannot be learned. Everybody has the capability, the resources, especially nowadays in 2020, to be able to learn art. Do not let anybody else's misconceptions affect you and think that you might not be able to become an artist because of it. Everybody listening to this, you are capable of becoming a professional. Some might learn it faster than others. Again, there's variables when it comes to that sort of thing, but everybody eventually will be able to utilize the knowledge they can learn from arts to express what they want to express. So there you have it, my top 5 list for the biggest misconceptions when it comes to art. Hopefully you enjoyed this list. It is something that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and there's some overlap from other videos, but some of the points I made are worth reiterating. For now, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you watched this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate any support for my channel and my work in general. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.